Beyond.
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 Yes, that is the name of the podcast that this is.
We did it.
It is Podcast
You did good,
Beyond.
Chloe. You did real good.
Episode 428. I'm Max Scoville. Joining me, Marty Sleva.
Hi, Max.
Brian Altano.
Beyond.
Andrew Golden Farmer.
Hey, Mac.
Golden Farb.
Yep, that'll
Gold
work.
Farb.
That'll do. Yep.
Golden Rod.
Yep.
Sure. Goldine.
Or all of those things.
And special guest, Chloi Rad.
Hi, guys.
This is your first time on the show.
It is.
You did a real cool thing that I think we should just jump right into because people really want to hear about it.
Yes.
You reviewed The Witness.
I did. It was real scary to do all by myself. It's a
Now,
really
How many?
big
You
game.
70 hours? 80 hours?
By now, yeah, I've sunk in like 80 hours. I think to get to the end, it took me like about 50.
Oh my God.
In like a week.
$40 is too much
All
for
by
this game.
myself.
Okay, so now before we get down with The Witness, can we? I'm so sorry. I had to do that. I didn't mean
No,
to.
you did it. You absolutely did
I
not have
had
to do that.
I really wanted to do
By
that.
no means did you
I
have
really
to do
wanted
that.
to make the disturbed
I'm
joke
leaving.
about a Jonathan Blow game. So obviously, I mean, some people, if you've been tracking this, The Witness was announced at the PS4 launch press conference. Is that right? It's been
At the reveal
when it
conference.
was
The reveal.
first
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
announced?
When it was.
I mean, it was the game was first shown in 2009.
It was at like GDC or something.
It was
at
at
some
a
event.
PAX East.
PAX
Yeah,
East.
it was
on
like
a
an
single
unmarked
PC.
booth or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Okay, and then it was sort of tacked onto the PS4.
Yes.
So this is
Sony, yes.
This is a significant game, and it's finally out, kind of in the wild. Chloe, what the hell is it?
It is an enigma. It's. I guess okay. If we just want to get right into it, it's a puzzle adventure game. It's
Okay.
on a big island, Puzzle Island. It's just full of puzzles.
Is it literally called Puzzle Island?
Yeah, this game is Puzzle Island.
All right.
Created by John Puzzlemaster Blow and a big team of really talented people. He actually had some architects and landscape engineers helping him build the actual island. But we'll get into that in a sec. You just solve these 2D maze puzzles that are on panels. It looks really easy at first, but it gets really hard. And being the only person in the office playing this game was very challenging.
Yeah, here you. I felt bad you being in the corner of the room and just like your frustration and terror and anger and we couldn't do anything about it.
The full spectrum of emotions. I mean, I love this game. I gave it a 10.
That's
but
pretty good score.
It was a really cool experience having nobody to turn to for help
Right.
in a way, because like I almost have no sympathy for all the people I'm seeing crying on Twitter about like, how do you solve this one? How do you solve this one? Because it's like
You have each
I
other.
have all the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can turn to anybody. I had
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah, you essentially played the game in a way that almost nobody will ever get to play it again.
Yeah, because when
Yeah.
you get frustrated, you had to look at it. Like, you couldn't look it up in a guide. You had to
I
just
just
do
had
it.
to. I mean, have you guys seen the movie Prisoners, where they go to the guy's house and he's got like just mazes all over the
Yeah,
wall?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was
that's my house right now. Like, I just have mazes drawn on my desk in notebooks, like in MS Paint.
Wow.
I love
that's
how-
what I had to do.
That's
It's
really
like everyone in the
awesome.
office looks like it's a beautiful mind, because like Mitch on his desk has like the most terrifying hieroglyphics of like weird like puzzle solutions.
yeah,
he's
Mitch
drawing
was
all
using
these.
like
Which is cool.
Photoshop to create little building
Yeah,
blocks.
which
mean,
I
I-
love because so few games like do that. Like
I
Device
grew- I mean,
6
I
did
grew
that
up
for
playing
me.
games like that.
Fez
Yeah.
did that for
Right.
me.
Device 6 Fez. Yep.
I used to do that with so Kid Icarus for the NES. There was an actual in every fourth level there was a sort of a temple type of thing, very Zelda 2-esque, which I think it came before Zelda 2. And there was an actual pencil and piece of paper you could buy in the game where you could mark your map. But I used to just draw them out myself. And there was a couple things I think in Resident Evil I took notes. Like for Resident Evil 0, I wrote some notes in the back of even like manuals used to have 2 or
Yeah.
3 pages in the back
Oh,
where
I
it's
miss
like
that.
put your
Yeah.
notes here. But this is a digital only game, right? So you're
Right.
not going to get a physical package with a notebook in it. But I think it's so cool that as terrible as your apartment probably looks right now, that there's just like nightmare drawings
Yeah,
everywhere
you're
on how to
just
solve
compelled
things.
to
Her
do it
neighbors
because-
said she was such a nice girl.
I overheard that you had to open up Photoshop for one of the puzzles.
No, well, I use MS Paint because that's my thing. MS
Okay.
Paint, yeah.
Yeah.
Mitch is the one using the fancy Photoshop.
Yeah, Mitch like adjusts the opacity, so he'll like. And I guess we should just super back up for anyone who's never seen The Witness. It's a first person, like you're walking around an island. It's like very bright and colorful, and these puzzles are like very deceptively simple. Like they have they start with like a circle, and you draw a line at their most simple, and then they get progressively more complicated, and there's elements to them.
And there's a bunch of rules that get introduced and
exactly.
symbols that
and you're like
represent various-
learning as you go. So Mitch is to the point in the game where certain factors come into how you can solve these puzzles, and he'll take a picture with his phone, or he'll take a screenshot on his PC, put it into Photoshop, and then adjust the opacity to like lay different things over the puzzles and like draw solutions onto them basically.
That's absolutely bonkers.
It's intense. Yeah.
So I realize that like talking about a puzzle game doesn't really do it a whole lot of justice. It's one of those things you kind of got to let it get your hooks into you.
Yeah.
I heard you were seeing this in your sleep, like you were dreaming about it.
Yeah, like I say this in my review, and I was not exaggerating. Like every time I close my eyes, I see mazes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what it was like for when I was like deep into this review. You know, I mean, it's the same kind of. There's actually a name for this, I think, for people who play a lot of Tetris. They see Tetris blocks every time they close their eyes. I was getting that for.
It was like
these line
Tetrasitis or
puzzles.
Tetris fever. Yeah,
I was
everybody
having-
had that back in the 90s.
Seriously, had dreams about these line puzzles, nightmares maybe.
Wow.
I remember I haven't had that in a game since Catherine. I remember I was playing those puzzles so much
Yes.
that like
Yep.
I would dream about them. I would walk through the
Right.
city and like imagine like pulling
Like
blocks
where
off.
it actually messes with the physical geometry space that you see in front of you.
Yeah.
I used to want to shoot out cameras because of GoldenEye.
Yeah.
All right.
I still want to do that.
But yeah, the thing that impresses me most about the puzzle, and I put like 25 hours or so into like an older build, and sort of as we were talking, I guess just to like full disclosure, when someone wants to give a game a 10, we sort of have a powwow about it.
Yeah, it's a big
and
process.
yeah, it's sort of just to make sure like, hey, a 10's sort of like a really important score we give, so
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we have like sort of almost purposely trying to poke holes in someone's review, and then if we can't, then it's like, well, you did it. You it's a 10 and you defended it. And so when we were talking about it over the weekend, sort of the way we were describing it is, yes, there is like pretty much those line puzzles are the only mechanic in the game. Like drawing from point A to point B is the only mechanic in the game. But we were describing it as like learning a language. And at the beginning, you learn a language and you learn how to say yes and no and the very simple things. And then throughout the course of this game, you start becoming more fluent in the language. And you start learning how to put sentences together and start using past and present and future tense. And you start like conjugating
there's
your
so
verbs.
many factors to take into account when you approach a new puzzle. It actually got to the point where I would approach puzzles that merged like 3 or 4 different rules, and it was actually like I was reading, right? Like reading the grid, and it became really easy actually to solve those really complicated looking ones.
Yeah.
It was almost like, how you don't have to look at every individual letter in a word to know what the word says. You just look at it and you understand it. It gets to that point.
Yeah.
And I think that the game is really well designed. In
Yeah.
that regard.
It's so cool, like walking by Mitch's desk when he first started, because I'm gonna start it tonight. It came out today, and I'll start tonight. But like watching Mitch in the early puzzles, I could stand behind him and like I would be like, oh, like have you tried doing this? And like I could like actually be a helpful human. And then like as of like yesterday, after he had like a couple of days with it, and he's like significantly later in the game, I would stand behind him and watch him do stuff, and I would just like quietly to myself, I'm like, I literally have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't
Meanwhile,
help him if I
I'm
wanted
sitting in the
to.
background like cackling to myself. Like,
You're feeding off his pain.
So like my question is like this sounds like a fairly simple puzzle mechanic, but it's rooted in this fleshed out real life environment. Like how do those two kind of interact without it just being kind of
So-
tacked on?
so Marty, we don't want to spoil too much, right?
No, definitely don't want to spoil too much. Say the 4-letter word we all want to say.
What's that?
Lost.
Lost. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. I didn't know where that was
mean,
going at all.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was like,
the piss drop
Piss?
that Jonathan Blow
that's
Wait, can we
tweeted.
really quickly
that's
talk about
actually
the
what
piss
I
jars?
thought. Piss was the word
Okay,
that came
let's
to mind.
so just for
We're gonna talk
context,
about
Jonathan Blow, the creator of this game, posted a photo on Twitter
Well-
of something that appears to be a urine-filled jar.
yeah.
And
he
he's
said-
been making the game for like 6 years or 7
Yes,
years.
and
So it's
he's-
like the joke, at least like for how I understood it, having not played the game, I see that tweet and I take it as like I've been working on it so long and I'm peeing in jars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw people getting mad at that, that's what I thought people's assumption. That's what I thought they were thinking was that crunch time is really rough and that he was peeing in jars or something.
Were people mad or were they worried?
They're just
I
grossed
guess
out, I
both.
think.
Yeah.
I guess so first I want to say John Blow is the creative lead on this game, but he wasn't the only person who worked on it.
sure,
I do
yeah.
want to acknowledge for everybody listening
I mean,
that
pretty much no game now is just one person.
yeah, like
Yeah.
but he is the one that people associate
Except for Axiom Verge.
with this game.
That's true.
But yeah, so for the people like me and a couple other reviewers who had gotten to the point in the game where I don't want to say too much.
But
The piss jar is a thing.
Okay.
So
I
wait,
don't
there,
want-
It's a hot collectible. You collect all
It's-
10 piss jars, so you
there-
get a
there
Chivo.
is-
It's like the stars and braid, but they're piss jars.
so there is. It's actually a piss jar, though.
So I don't
Is
want
it
to.
pee?
I will not.
I guess
don't
it's
know
just-
what to do.
It's
I
just
don't wanna
weird.
talk-
You've got this.
You will
like,
not
this
confirm nor
beautiful-
deny if it's
this
pee.
beautiful, like just artistic, smart, intellectual, cerebral puzzle game, but there's piss jars.
Well, I mean, I think we could just say, like, I would just leave it at, because I got
There's
too
more
curious and had
context.
Chloe explain to me, but I would just basically leave it at, like, if you've played the game completely, like, totally to completion, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, when I saw that tweet, I was like, I knew what that was. I knew what that was a reference to.
That's super interesting.
Oh, Jimmy Piss Jar.
And-
That's your protagonist.
Me and a couple other reviewers were talking and laughing about everybody having a crisis over it on Twitter.
Yeah, it's really funny.
All I'll say is it's weird. It's not weird in the way people think it's weird. It's weirder in a way, but
Oh wow,
Nah, dude, pissing in a jar is pretty weird.
So it's a real pistory. It's a piss mystery.
okay, all right, I'm out.
Okay, but anyway, kind of going back to
The island.
the idea of the island. Yeah, like it is very Lost-like in
Yeah.
that like you're there's more to it than it seems, right?
Yeah,
Like you're
and
not
it-
just
and
on an
I said-
island.
We say lost not just because it's a mysterious island, but sort of like the Dharma initiative, right? In Lost, is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see like this kind of logo. Like I was wandering around and I found like a beach chair with a beach towel. And this like little company logo on it. You see it on like random couches and a couple other things, and it's like so there's like this presence on the island, this like corporate presence. Obviously, there's a lot of like research facilities
Yeah.
and like bunkers, greenhouses.
I mean, everything
like
kind of
that.
seems like an experiment.
Yeah,
Right.
and so you get the sense that something was happening on this island, and that maybe the mystery of the island is figuring that out.
Yeah.
And in a really loose sense, watching Mitch, it almost seems like the feeling of like a portal test chamber thing. Like it's not, but it's like that rough idea of like there's something
pattern
to this.
There's something
Yeah.
off
Right.
about the island. I
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much,
Sure.
but like there's obviously something under the surface,
Yeah.
and that's something you start to notice as you play.
Yeah,
So,
so
like,
that's really
Is there obviously like the puzzles do stuff? They unlock like new areas. Is it kind of like I know
So
it's kind of open, right?
Everything in the island is completely open. You can go to I guess without spoiling too much, the mountain is kind of the central point on the island. It's the not physically like the middle, but it is the most prominent landmark. It's the tallest point on the island.
I mean, that's sort of
And
without
it's-
it's not really a spoiler to say like the objective of the game is to solve a ton of puzzles, and every time you solve certain things, a beam of light will shoot to the mountain,
Yeah.
and you have to do all 7.
Yeah.
There's like 7 beams of
Yeah.
light that you
So
need to get to the top of the mountain, and then it unlocks.
Well, you
When
can
I-
go to the top of the mountain at the very
Sure.
beginning if you want, right? But
There's no
but
cool
you
beams
don't
of
know
light.
what you're doing until you start solving
Yeah.
puzzles and stuff.
so it sounds a lot like Myst, like the kind of this.
Yeah,
this
I mean,
slow.
this is the obvious
Okay. Yeah.
comparison.
So there's no enemies, there's no bosses, there's no conflict
No.
per se.
I mean,
Interesting.
there's
You gotta-
inner conflict.
You gotta pee. You gotta pee in that
I'm okay
huge
with that,
jar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean-
I do want to say I respect how carefully you're sort of tiptoeing around
Yeah,
spoilers stuff
yeah.
because this game
You're not
has
like
been out
Jared.
for
Jared comes here and just
The,
spoils
the, the
things.
sense of discovery is such a big part of this game.
So did you like because there's also like there's like diary entry or audio logs. There's like did you like
Right.
and then there's environmental storytelling. Like did you like the story without even going into it? Like
Yeah, so actually, I do want to talk about this. I think for people who are looking for concrete answers about the island might walk away a little disappointed. So some of the more direct story bits are super locked away. Like you have to sink 100 hours into this game if you want those kinds of
Yeah.
answers, because for the majority of the game, the only audio logs you find are quotes from like Albert Einstein, B.F. Skinner, famous astronauts, stuff like that, and they're mostly there to like inspire self-reflection in a way. Like the island is a lot in its visual design and also just the way the game is designed in general to make you feel super alone and isolated. Like Marty, you said earlier today, there's these statues that you see around the island, and they seem to be from all eras. You know,
yeah, there's like it seems like there's a
medieval
guy
knights.
drunk about to hit his wife, and then there's other like knights and stuff, and they're like frozen in time. Like you hear
like a
the stories,
Pompeii thing.
yeah, hearing the
Yeah.
stories of like Pompeii, like that. Everyone was like frozen in ash.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
wherever.
almost like you're frozen in time, but like out of time. Do you know what I mean? Like in,
yeah,
in another
like the island's
just-
an anachronism. It's like a
Yeah.
bunch of it's all these like sort of like different biodomes that shouldn't coexist next to each other. There's like a desert next to a forest, next to a lake, next
Yeah,
to
and it's like if you're afraid to be alone with your own thoughts, this might not be the game for you.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no like music. It's so
no music,
it's
that's
so
another thing.
interesting. Like I love everything I've seen in this game. Like every time I've sat down just at Mitch's desk and seen anything from it, I love it. I'm so excited to dive into it tonight because this is just I don't know. This is like the way puzzle platformers with the twist are kind of your jam, or
Oh,
like
me?
this feels like a super gold
Do you
game.
think
I'm
I'll
really
mess
excited
this
for
game up by putting in my own music? Like, because I do that thing on
Like
PS4.
Disturbed,
I'll
just
do- no,
down
I'll
with
put
the
on-
Witness playing in the background the whole time.
I'll put on Spotify. I did this for a lot of The Witcher, where I was like, I turned the music off, but I put on like bossa nova and like Cuban jazz, and it's just like it kind of ruins some scenes. But I feel like The Witness, if there's no music to begin with, and I'm just like,
I mean,
play some funky tropical island
if you
mystery
want to
music.
play it the way like the creators intended, I wouldn't do that. But if you get, I mean, I was watching Rick and Morty while playing for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Don't,
That's what the creators intended.
Were you about to say, don't tell Jonathan Blow?
yeah.
You tell Jonathan Blow. Give that game a 10. You can watch whatever shows you want. You
I mean,
watch
that was
ER.
when I was like really stuck. I had the second monitor open, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need something. I need something to maintain my sanity right now.
So this is one of the other things I kind of want to talk about. I know it's like comparing apples to oranges, but we're 2.5 years into the PS4's lifespan. Where do you think this ranks in terms of like, PS4 exclusives? Like, do you think this is the best? Is this your favorite?
I mean, I didn't even own a PS4 till last year.
Yeah,
Full disclosure.
but you played Bradburn.
Bradburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Bloodborne.
Bloodborne's probably my favorite. Just total PS4 exclusive, because this is also on the PC.
Yeah.
And I played I played it both on the PC and the PS4 for review purposes and stuff. But I think it's definitely one of the best PS4 console exclusives.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm glad. I hope this finally. All the people who were mad at the $40 thing. I hope this sort of.
It's a video
This
game.
game
Yeah.
is so long.
Yeah.
I mean,
like you
not
said.
that should.
No, length should not
I think
equate.
creators should charge whatever they,
And it's up to you. If you want to pay
Right.
for it, pay for it. If
That's
not,
a great segue right there. Because speaking of creators charging what they want for things,
you did it.
we got some hot tips on the Battlefront Season Pass, the DLC.
Oh, boy.
This is a game that's going to be getting some content through 2017. We have Brian and I did a big video about the 6 things or whatever you can expect. But short answer, there's basically every 3 months they're going to be putting out like a new package for paid stuff as well as a bunch of free DLC stuff. Are we happy with this? Is this
I mean,
cool?
This is basically like what they did with Battlefront or Battlefield, rather.
Yeah. That's kind of like their business model
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So
And
I'm-
Battlefield 3 had support for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Like, they supported that
still
game
had,
for
Battlefield 4 still had things coming out recently.
at E3 I think, or no, at Gamescom they
Yeah.
announced a Battlefield 4 DLC. Yeah, which
I feel
and
like
that's even
there was
after Hardline.
there was sort of like a long series of disappointments with the general populace about this game. First, the pricing structure. Second, the fact that it had less modes than the previous Battlefronts. And third, when they kind of slipped, it was like 2 days before Christmas, where they're like, "Hey, we're not doing any Force Awakens stuff. Focusing just on the original trilogy." I want all that bad news out of the way because I actually love what's there, and I'm really excited about what's coming. So they're going to keep mining original trilogy stuff. They're doing, in the first pack, they're doing Outer Rim, which is basically like new areas in Sullust. They're doing Jabba's Palace. They're doing a bunch of other stuff. After that, they're doing Bespin, so Cloud City. And then after that, they're doing Death Star. And then something fourth quarter, which Max and I think is going to be Rogue One stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why they don't want to say it,
Yeah.
because they went into so much detail with the rest of this stuff. It's like, why tease a 2017 thing without saying what it is unless it's Rogue One?
I almost wish that they hadn't really revealed this all at once. I wish that they'd broken down the kind of the idea of how much content you were going to get at the kind of with the season pass, because it
Sure.
sort of sucks to take that leap of faith and be like, hey, here's $50. What are you getting for it? But to jump on it, like, I think it'd be cool if they were like, hey, in March you're going to get Outer Rim stuff. Keep posted to find out what comes after that. But I do like that kind of little carrot in front of the horse. Like, I will keep jumping back in this game for the next year.
It's hard to sell a season pass when you don't. I mean, it isn't for us because we bought it without knowing anything. But it's hard to sell a season pass.
We're
Unless you,
simpletons.
Yeah, unless you lay out
A couple
the
of
whole thing.
real dinguses.
But anyway, that video's up on IGN now, or should be by the time this podcast
Did
goes
it
up.
announce heroes? New heroes?
No, they announced skins for their heroes. I think they're
like Hoth outfits and
Hoth
stuff.
outfits.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they
skins.
give. I'm hoping they give Leia something that like makes sense on Tatooine because she's in like winter gear on that, and it's like a sand planet.
It's a real hot sweat on.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know, give her like a T-shirt or something like that. Whatever. Get
Desert,
one of
just
those-
just
one of
like
those
palette swap the Endor thing, so you have desert camo.
sand cloaks
Yeah.
that they wear.
Exactly.
Like a
Yeah.
poncho? I'm wearing a sand cloak right now.
So go check that stuff. Go check that video out. Max and I did.
All right, other news. This is one of those things. Goldfarb, you got to give us some insight because we didn't read the whole entire press release. Basically, Sony did one of those big business things that we pretend to understand, where they said that they're pretty much merging Sony Computer Entertainment and Sony Computer Network Online Internet
So it's-
Entertainment or whatever.
Yeah, so SNEI, which is Sony Network Entertainment International, essentially merged with Sony Computer Entertainment, or they will as of April 1st. So it's essentially just putting all of the PlayStation operations, so network stuff and like content development, hardware, software, everything, sort of essentially under one at least corporate roof. Even
And
if
that's
not
going
all
to
in
be
the same
here
building.
in the Bay Area,
And
not in Japan.
Exactly. So it'll be based out of San Mateo, which is a big campus in the Bay Area where Sony has all their stuff here. And yeah, it's. I mean, there's still operations out of Tokyo and London. It's still. I don't think it's really affecting them in terms of like physical presence all that much. But there are some interesting bits to it. Kurt from Naughty Dog on Twitter pointed out the fact that every first-party Sony game like starts with that black screen of Sony Computer Entertainment Presents, and we won't see that anymore. Like, I mean, that will now say Sony Interactive Entertainment.
So that'll be
Presents.
Uncharted 4 should be the first game that does that, probably.
I would assume, yeah, because this happens as of April 1st. So
Yeah.
that'll be
Wow.
the first, and it's just that really interesting.
That's why it got delayed. They got to make that new title.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a really, it's very corporate. It's very inside baseball. I really don't think it really affects people that much, but it's just a really interesting rebalance of what Sony is. And Sean Layden, who was the SCEA
You probably
president.
see he's on stage at most press conferences.
Yeah, he wore that cool Vib Ribbon shirt at E3. He wore that Crash shirt at.
Stop talking about what he was wearing.
He wears cool shirts at press. I'm
That was
identifying who he is.
Horrible, misleading shirts.
Yes,
Get us
exactly.
excited about new Crash Bandicoots, but there aren't any.
So he is now, they released this new org chart, and Andrew House is sort of overseeing everything, but Sean Layden is overseeing Worldwide Studios, which immediately brought like everyone asking,
Can
what
we
does that
start
mean for
calling Andrew
Shuhei?
House PlayStation House, like PlayStation Home?
Like,
but
yeah,
PlayStation
I like that
House?
a lot. He would probably like that.
Turn
you
this
think that's a good thing
PlayStation
to call
house
him?
into a PlayStation.
I called him Andy House on a podcast instead of Andrew House once, and I got an angry email from an angry series of tweets from somebody that was like, "How dare you not show him the respect of using his full name?"
What about you, Goldfarb? You're more of like an Andrew studio apartment.
I called you like 5 different variations
One
of your
bedroom
last
apartment.
I'm not
But
talking about,
anyway,
I'm not
I-
talking about where you live. I'm talking about that you're small.
Oh, I'll take it. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a really cool thing from our side as kind of people who analyze the business, and I don't think we understand a lot of it yet. I think we'll kind of see more details come out of it in the future about what it actually means. But
I mean, do you think, like, a lot of times you see sort of reorgs and shifts like this when stuff isn't going well? Whereas
I
right
think this
now
is the
it's
opposite.
just right now. I mean,
think-
PS4 is doing just fine.
And I think that's
Yeah.
kind of the idea is that because PS4 has seen so much success and because, so Shuhei said on Twitter, this does include VR, obviously, which is part of PlayStation's hardware operations. I think they're kind of just doing some house cleaning before they kind of enter this major Andrew house cleaning before they enter this
Good joke.
this major new initiative. And I think it makes a lot of sense for them to sort
Right.
of
Yeah.
get everything under one corporate structure so that as their PSN changes, as PlayStation VR kind of puts them into this new consumer space, that they can just keep things simple and well organized.
I think someone pointed out that we still can't change our PSN names, but they can change the entire company's name.
That was Wario64 on
Yeah.
Twitter. It was a
But I
great
love
joke.
someone made that joke last night, like 5 minutes after they announced it, and Shuhei retweeted it, which I thought was really funny that
Yeah.
he's sort of acknowledging that.
Oh, he's
too.
great. He's self-aware.
He's
He knows.
wonderful.
They started this new company to try and actually figure out how to change usernames, and that's why Uncharted got delayed too.
Yeah.
You got to change all the characters' names.
I started saying, but one last thing I will note in breaking Shuhei Yoshida news is that so Sean Layden is now overseeing Worldwide Studios. Shuhei's title is obviously president of Worldwide Studios. He tweeted that he will now report to Sean Layden, but he's maintaining his title as president of Worldwide Studios. What I would imagine that means, total speculation, is that Shuhei is more on the creative side in terms of helping kind of shepherd things with the studios themselves, kind of making creative decisions. Whereas I would imagine Sean Layden is more kind of on the corporate side as far as like, what does this mean for release schedules? What does this mean for timing of things,
Yeah.
for mergers, for all kinds
I
of
thought it
things
was going to be
that.
like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, every other weekend kind of thing.
It could be,
Yeah, it'll be
a
like
shared
when they,
custody.
it'll be like when the owner of the park flies the helicopter in Jurassic World.
But
He's like, I can still do this, and then he crashes into the pterodactyl tank.
but yeah, like I said, that
Why
is
are we still why are we still talking about this?
just to end it. It is kind of
Small
rampant
spoiler.
speculation on our part. Like we're going to find out more about this,
Yeah.
I think. And
And also,
it's
the one
cool
thing
to see Sony doing
I always
stuff.
like to point out is that like we focus on the PlayStation side of stuff, but Sony is still a much larger company.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes PlayStation will be kicking ass left and right, but Sony will have to close 3 TV factories or whatever because they're
Well, I think that's what this is. This is
Yeah.
basically taking their entire interactive side and putting it under one corporate part of the company that they can now point to as this is doing really well.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a lot of sense to combine network with kind of hardware software stuff because it's basically saying like this all is working on the same machine, basically. This is all part of the same ecosystem. Like, I mean, regardless of Vita's performance, regardless of stuff like PSTV, PSP, like smart TVs, like all these weird Sony things, whether they're successful or not, are sort of part of this thing that they're trying to combine. Stuff like PlayStation Now works across 1 million Sony devices. Like, they are really good at kind of cultivating that ecosystem. I think it makes sense to have it all be part of the same company within Sony.
Cool.
And just sort of piggybacking off that, we found out today that there's
Piggy-tailing?
another, to piggy-tail off it. There's like a Sony VR conference thing happening in Japan in like a day or two.
Weird.
Yeah, there's some, we don't know what that is yet. It might even just be a public event or something. But yeah, there's on the events tab in PS4 in Japanese, there's like a series of events. We're figuring out what that is.
All right. Cool. Last week we talked a whole lot about a game that we could have been completely making up called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Menace to Manhattan. It's about a bunch of turtle boys jumping out of a sewer with full bathroom stuff down there. That's actually a real game. Platinum finally announced it officially, leaked it for real.
Thank God, after 30 minutes of speculation last week.
We could have just been, well,
you
I mean,
would have died. We literally talked about it for 30 minutes.
You know, we do.
Not only did they
BS
leak it for
for 30
real,
minutes at a time, but
their official launch trailer this morning was called the official leak, and it leaked yesterday early.
that's pretty funny.
So even their official leak leaked.
Yeah. Brian and Mitch did a rewind theater of that if you want to check that out, or you could just go back to last week's episode, listen to what might be in it. We don't know. Who knows?
But it's coming this summer. It's from the director of The Legend of Korra, which wasn't real good.
It's very gorgeous. It's got Bebop and Rocksteady with
Yep.
big, huge weapons such as a mallet and a chainsaw.
Yeah,
Cool.
It's coming to all platforms. It
Yep.
looks real pretty. We're not sure how multiplayer works yet.
Cowabunga.
They show Cowabungas.
Cowabunga.
And that cool. Remember that shark I brought up last week?
Yeah,
He's in the trailer.
what's his
Armagon?
name?
Armagon.
Yeah.
Is his name Armagon?
Armagon.
Really?
I called him Armageddon, and you guys yelled at
I
me.
don't like that name. I could call
Chloe,
him
do you like the
Fish
Ninja
Face.
Turtles?
I have nothing to say.
That's all right.
Do you like?
Isn't it Platinum Games?
It is platinum, but it's
Yeah.
platinum's sort of B team. Like
So is
Ninja
this
Turtles
the
is
team-
about a rat that lives in a toilet, and he has his friends that are in a cult, and he uses them to fight bad trash beasts
they're
all
not his
over
friends,
town.
they're his sons.
I don't.
And then a
I
girl
don't
films
like,
it for TV.
I saw the trailer earlier. I don't like their eyes. How they have like pupils.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like
really weird.
I remember the movies. They had like really creepy human lips. I'm sick
Oh,
of them.
in the
I'm
Michael
sick
Bay
of
one?
them
Yeah.
making the turtles look like human.
I just
Yeah.
don't like when Donatello has a trench coat
They
on.
look spooky. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I like it
It's
when
like,
they
yeah,
put
I
on
agree with
like
that.
they had that Donatello figure where you could put, he was wearing a trench coat and he's supposed to be a spy, but he had this clip-on like Groucho mask where he's got like a big nose and a mustache,
Yep.
but his face is all wide, like he's got no neck. He just looked like if Super
they're
Mario
real-
was on the run and
They're
to hide
real
out.
Scary.
Yeah, real.
Everyone's
upsetting.
like, "Wow, who's that guy? I've never seen that man before."
Yeah.
What a strange looking
Just a
man.
normal guy.
That
Awful.
9 foot tall, disgusting amphibian that
Those
smells horrible.
awful ninjas.
Next, you skipped the Cole Brown story I wanted to talk about. You
No,
just you
did
a
I
full
skip that? All right. Well, so Ninja Turtles, real stupid, real bad idea for a video game. It's about a bunch of dumb
We're
turtles.
all excited about
What are
it.
you
Yeah,
talking
no,
about?
it's gonna
Except
be
for
fun.
Chloe, 'cause Chloe doesn't like
video
ninjas
games
or
are
turtles.
terrible and they're stupid.
You're a turd. Why don't you go punch your toilet?
I'm gonna later, but first I'm gonna punch my toilet with a golf ball, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm gonna do in a video game called Dangerous Golf.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. This is
Yeah.
a bunch of devs who worked on Burnout.
Yeah,
are
Criterion.
they're making a golf game that's basically like, hey, guess what's cool about golf? Nothing. Golf. This is a game about blowing shit up. So I'm really, I find myself really enjoying golf games. Like I don't like golf at all, but I like the process of whacking a ball around and trying to.
And this is sort of like Crash Mode from Burnout, just with golf balls.
I, really,
Yeah.
I really
Cool.
like how many of the environments in this game are going to be indoors.
Yeah.
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 You're
play
playing like
golf
kitchens and
inside.
stuff.
Yeah.
Side
so
note:
this is-
have any of you guys ever done miniature golf? And there's always invariably that one part that's indoors, and it's just so much fun because you get to put the ball on the floor and hit it as hard as possible, and it
Yeah,
bounces
it's-
off
yeah.
the walls for
Yeah.
like 45 minutes, and then it gets stuck in the ceiling, and you have to go back to the teenager that works at the front desk, and you go, "Can I get a new ball?" And he's like, "We don't have any more." And you're like, "Can I please get a new ball?" And he's like, "All right." And he gives you a pink one. You're like, "I don't want a pink one. I want a blue one." And he's like, "You lost the blue one in the cool haunted house
Yeah.
back there."
And
And
then
then
you're
you're really
like-
screwing up the operation there. And
then you're
then
like-
he quits and goes to jail for drugs. And then you're like, "I'm never playing miniature golf again because you grow up." I really like miniature golf too. It is a good sport.
So
Brian
that's a-
Altano, grade 5.
That's a good story. A good friend of mine worked at the Family Fun Center in Sonoma, and they had a miniature golf course, and he was going to quit. He was tired of working at that job, and so before he quit, he decided that he was going to massively abuse his power of having keys to that place. So he let in a bunch of my friends, and they all just got real drunk and played miniature golf throughout the night. And he stole a bunch of tokens. So whenever you'd get in his car, there'd just be a bunch of tokens on the ground. You'd be like, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Well, I robbed my old work."
Tokens are arcade dollars that only can be used to buy basically
Only 90s kids will remember
clown
tokens.
stuff.
One thing I find funny about Dangerous Golf is that EA very recently in the most recent PGA Tour game had like this weird mode where it's like fantasy maps
Yeah.
for golf where it's like you play on a battleship.
But
and
they
it's
didn't
like,
get it. They missed the point. It
And
was
it's like, it's a really, that was like almost, yeah, exactly. That felt like a half measure, whereas
Yeah.
this is just like full on, like, we're making a weird ass golf game.
And like
where we
Hot
can
Shots
kinda-
Golf has always sort of touched on this, in that it's like it's cartoon golf, but it's not like the rules are still there, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can, it's like that. Was it that like NFL Blitz that they made, like the Xbox Live version, whatever, where that was like, yeah, it's NFL Blitz with all the stuff you love, and I was like, what about like doing all this the stuff where you tackle people for no reason? And they're like, no, we took that out because it's unsafe.
Well, and that's what I like about this. Like, so I don't really like racing games that much. Like, I will very rarely play like a Gran Turismo or a, you know, like a simulation game.
Yeah.
But I like arcadey racers. Like, I tend to like Need for Speed. And this is sort of the equivalent of that,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's not
I
a
mean-
golf sim. It's like this weird ass arcade version of golf.
In Three Fields Entertainment's press release, Three Fields is the new studio. They say it's as serious a golf game as Burnout was a serious simulation driving game, which I
love
think
that.
is amazing.
That sounds awesome.
All of this is very nice.
Yeah.
Why aren't they making a new Burnout?
Why EA isn't? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, because Criterion's working on their weird extreme sports game that they showed
Yeah.
that dev diary of a couple years ago.
That Dev
Yeah.
Diary was just like, so it's like, what have you guys been working on? There, well, so we got some GoPros at the office, and we've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of
Yeah.
extreme sports. You're like, so
Yeah.
what are you working on? They're like, I mean, you know, like there's a lot of great videos on YouTube of people doing stunts and such.
Yeah.
That just felt like they showed it way too early. That was like that weird classic example of like, just don't announce till you're ready.
Yeah.
It's also such a bummer because Criterion, like, like Burnout, like 3, Revenge,
Yeah.
Takedown. I wasn't a big fan of Paradise, but a lot of people loved it. And then, like, even like Black was really interesting, that
Yep.
PS2 shooter. And now it's just like, just let them work on something cool.
Give them a
Yep.
pod racing game. That's what I want to see.
Yes. But yeah, it's coming out May. It's going to be downloadable, PS4, Xbox One, PC.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like that you can shoot a golf ball that's on fire at a toilet and it blows up.
Is that true? Is that true fact?
They had a screenshot of a bunch of urinals getting messed up real
Yeah.
bad.
We talked about toilets a lot in this episode.
Yeah.
We do
Yeah,
that.
and piss.
And piss trucks.
This jokes, wow.
Yeah.
Which are kind of like toilets if you're sick in the head.
Yeah. Howard Hughes did it, and he invented the airship.
Guys, if
and
you
look at
play
him, he's a movie star now.
Yeah.
if
They
you
made a
play
movie
Dangerous
about
Golf
him.
until the end, the urinals make sense.
Oh, really? They explain that canonically in that game.
Yeah.
Great
All
job,
right.
guys.
We got a cool email. I'm not going to read this email.
God,
I'm really
all
gonna-
you keep doing is skipping things, Max.
Oh, I keep. Yeah, sorry. I keep reading.
Also, I feel
poorly.
left out that you only wrote Marty.
Have you played?
I watched you guys
All
play
right.
this. And I played
Okay.
Governor
All right.
Master
Hey.
last
Hey.
night.
Hey. Am I going to separate you? Am I going to separate you too?
There's too many
We've got
people at the
company.
table. You can't separate.
Hi, Chloe. How are you?
Hi, I want to hear about this game that Marty's been playing that I played one time in a Target on a PSP that I thought when the PSP first came out, and I was like, maybe I'll buy this, and then I played this game, and I was like, and then I didn't buy it. That's my story.
This
Yeah.
game is, of course, Gravity Rush Remastered.
Yeah,
which is
so
coming out
the,
in
next week.
Next week.
It's coming out next week, but the embargo's up. My review or update review. I'm just updating Greg's old review because I pretty much agree with what he said. And so this game is actually a ton of fun to play now.
It's really pretty.
Yeah,
The
I played through it on
controls
Vita. Yeah, the art style was incredible back then and remains incredible. The game's super gorgeous.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah, so it's a-
girl, like flipping around.
Your cat girl flipping around. Yeah, it's a.
Well, you're a
it's-
girl named Cat.
Yeah, who has a cat. And she's
Yeah,
kind of a
who
cat
also
girl.
has a cat.
No, but
kind
she's
of a
cat
human.
girl. She gets powers from a magical cat.
It's
Yep.
she's a victim of cat magic.
Oh,
like
okay.
Selena Kyle.
is that what lets her flip around?
That's what kind of lets her flip around. I don't know. I've
You know,
really,
It lets her
Cats always
manipulate
land on their
What
gravity.
is the lore of Gravity Rush, Marty?
a real deep lore dump. Yeah, so it's an open world action adventure game where the main crux of it is that you have the ability to muck up gravity, and so you can sort of float in the air and just float there, and then you can jet off into the distance and walk up a wall. So you can sort of choose whatever you want your x-axis to be.
Right.
Whether it's the side of a wall or whether it's the top of a ceiling. And so it's all about sort of how you're getting around the environment. And, the combat's decent. It's kind of dumb. Like
Have they tightened it up at all?
It's
Or?
decent, but kind of
it's decent as in it's not bad, but it's not a platinum game in
Is
terms
it-
of like
you
depth.
can upgrade certain things, so it's like as you go, you are able to unlock certain abilities or like enhance certain abilities that make combat either easier or give you new moves, or there's like all kinds of like.
Yeah.
So it is like a traditional open world game in that you can take side quests and like you can
Yeah.
basically. make Cat stronger. There are lots of like mini games too. I don't know. I really liked the progression in that game, and I liked that it got more complicated.
I like the progression a lot. My one thing I don't like is the side quests get real boring real fast, and they're all fetch questy, and a lot of them are timing based, and they don't really tell you exactly what to do or exactly where to go.
that.
And while playing it, I lost a couple by it was 5 seconds away, and I couldn't get to the place where I needed to go, and I had to restart the entire thing. And I'm like, this is just super frustrating.
yeah.
Especially there's like the mini games later aren't even about the traversal. There's like races essentially where you're like basically snowboarding. And
Yeah.
it's I mean that it's not a perfect game by any means, but I really really like the Vita version, and I just started remastered, and it is so much better in every way. Like I thought
I just completely the first thing to do, go into the options, completely turn off motion control. None of that 6-axis
that's
garbage.
what I was gonna
completely
ask,
turn
'cause
it off and just use the analog stick.
The
for
original Vita
payment.
version obviously was kind of showcasing a lot of the accelerometer physics and stuff, which kind of effed it up. So it's cool that you can just play it with a controller like a normal game.
Totally do that.
it helps a lot.
Also,
Wait,
this
was-
gets me super excited for the sequel.
This was a Vita launch title?
This was a Vita
Oh,
launch
I
title.
totally said PSP.
That was fine.
It was after launch. It was I don't think it was like part of the actual launch day lineup.
Really?
Yeah. It was after.
Oh, weird. I don't remember that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It's coming out February 2nd. If you haven't checked it out, it's probably worth it. If you played on Vita, I don't know if it's worth playing again, especially when there's so many games.
Man, see, I thought I was going to say that, and now revisiting it, I'm like, I kind of want to play it through this.
Yeah,
Now.
there's
I
a
think
lot
I
of
liked
games
it
you
more
didn't
than I
play, though.
remembered.
Just play the Witness.
That's actually true. I'm probably just going to play.
Yeah,
it.
get up. Come on,
Get
get
it.
down
Stop
with
it.
the witness.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. The other major release of this week that I played a bunch, and Andrew by proxy played a bunch because he watched, is Lego
played
Marvel
some. Zach and I played
Avengers.
some too.
Yeah, Zach and you did a real good job. You couldn't beat that level. And Alana had to. We played a lot of Lego Avengers this
Okay,
weekend.
yeah.
We played like 12 hours of this game. This
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah. Alana's reviewing it. Her review might be up by the time this goes up.
Yeah.
But the game's, I'm sort of disappointed by the game. I think it's the one of the weaker core Lego games in a long time.
Well, but the interesting thing about it is that the open world mechanical part of it is probably the best they've ever done.
Yeah.
But the story, like the main like story missions,
going through the
basically,
two Avengers movies is
so nonsensical.
Yeah, it's
Like,
nonsensical. It's
just bizarre.
incomprehensible. It pulls certain actors. They were able to pull the exact lines of dialogue from the Avengers, but when they do, the sound mixing's really weird. So like you'll hear Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans say something, but it's a line from the movie, and they like isolated the dialogue and
That's
removed
so
it from like
So,
all
like,
the
the sound-
background
like,
noise, and so like the
Marty
music
said it sounds like someone basically held a microphone up to like a speaker. Like that's what it sounds like.
It's
And like
so like weird and disorienting. And
yeah.
also they couldn't get certain actors, so like Gwyneth Paltrow is not in the game, so it's
Right.
just someone doing a Gwyneth Paltrow impression.
And it reminds so like they did this for The Hobbit. Lego The Hobbit does
Yeah.
this, and this is like I hated it in that game, and this is maybe even worse.
Yeah.
So
Like, it
Goldfarb
just-
and I noticed this when we previewed this at New York Comic Con, and I thought it was like very jarring, especially because I mean I'm a huge fan of the Lego games, and I think one of the things I like the most is how they took classic scenes from films I love, like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and replaced them with these like kind of goofy slapstick like pantomime.
I miss the pantomime.
The
and I
pantomime
think-
is really good.
I
And
think it worked really well.
The problem with this is it's a half measure because Lego Dimensions is fully written. It has a campaign that they wrote. So there's dialogue and it's cohesive and there's a narrative to it, and you're playing through a story for better or worse. Whereas, and then the other games pantomimed because they obviously didn't want to hire voice actors and write stuff, so they basically like made it sort of a play action telling of those stories. Whereas this game is this weird in between, where rather than write something bespoke for this game, they tried to shoehorn most but not all of the movie plot. They tried to shoehorn most but not all of the movie plot, and it's so.
Well, it doesn't
bad.
make sense because it's like Robert Downey Jr.'s line reads from those movies made sense for those movies because there were like serious moments and like the tone was sharp and smart and sort of like there was impending doom everywhere. And in this game, there's like a cartoon pig running around, you know, and somebody's holding a baguette.
And when you
then-
die, it doesn't matter because you just respawn.
yeah, you just
immediately.
respawn.
You lose your 5 bolts.
So I would have rather they either just gutted all the voice acting entirely and did pantomiming, or just did it all over the top.
The way you guys are describing this, I'm imagining like a Newgrounds soundboard for like the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, they used to
Yeah.
like prank phone call, like just.
You're not that
yeah,
far off.
that's kind of
honestly.
it, honestly. Yeah.
But like Andrew mentioned, the open world stuff in the game like is incredibly ambitious and does this thing which I found so interesting is that if you're playing 2 players, it's split screen. You have all of Manhattan. You can jet up to the what's the shield
jet?
helicarrier, whatever. But it's cool because so we just separated. Like Alana was doing one thing, I was doing another thing, and I could start a side quest, and she could go and start another side quest. and split screen co-op.
Oh, wow.
And so it's one of those like if two people are playing this game, like it's so cool to be like, oh, I found Moon Knight and I'm doing his side quest to unlock him, and Anna's like, well, I'm just doing this race, and we're doing it at the exact same time on the same TV.
Now they
And that's
gave
what I'm excited
options
about.
for the split screen for
Yeah.
the first time
Yeah,
in a
the
while, right?
dynamic versus or fixed vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
versus
we ended up
dynamic,
playing
yeah.
fixed most of the time.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Dynamic.
fixed is exactly the reason, or the lack of fixed is the reason I haven't played those games in co-op in a while because I've tried and it's just super disorienting.
In
to
some
have
of them
that,
it works.
That clock, that kind of like that hand that moves around.
The camera can make it super disorienting. It was almost like, especially watching you guys play versus playing, I like at least you have the capacity to control your character and like the agency to be like, oh, the camera's weird and move to the left. But like watching it is the most disorienting thing in the world when you have no control over it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited that the Vita version has the open world. I want to. We're reviewing the console versions. I don't think we're reviewing the handheld ones. But I'm gonna probably pick up the Vita version
That's
today.
the first handheld Marvel game that's had the open
Yep.
world.
Yes,
in it.
it's the only Lego game that's had an open
Yeah.
world.
So
yeah.
far, all the Vita stuff has been just
It's
a
like
res
the
of
old Star Wars
3DS
games.
ones.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, exactly. You've like kind of a very simple hub world, and you go in and play a level and come back. So I'm gonna play this. I want to get this on Vita, play it up to the point of the open world, and I'm just gonna run around and unlock characters. Like I'll probably
That's
abandon
cool.
the story at that
have
point.
We, have we seen a side by side of Lego Marvel Superheroes and Lego Avengers in terms of the open world?
It looks way better. Like
Yeah.
visually,
Oh, this game
game's
looks
very pretty.
gorgeous. Like,
how
yeah.
does the layout look? Like, is it similar?
I think
or-
it's much bigger.
I would.
right?
It at least feels significantly
like
bigger.
Manhattan feels huge.
Really?
And you come out
Yeah.
and you have this radar with every mission you can accept, and it's like overwhelming. It's
How
like
are the-
it looks
how are
like
the
there's
flying
1,000
controls?
things.
Really good, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
They tighten those up?
yeah, flying as like Vision or War Machine or anyone feels
Oh, nice.
great.
Yeah,
You
that
see
was fun.
Quicksilver
Yeah,
and
awesome.
get around the city like insanely
Yeah.
quick. The other really cool thing, honestly, is that we were playing. If you play the Iron Man 3 level and you get to the boss of it, it's what's his name, Aldrich Killian.
Aldrich Killian, yeah.
Voiced by Greg Miller.
That's right. Beyond.
And you
he's-
unlock a trophy called Beyond.
Yeah, if you
Sweet.
if you unlock that character, and it was really weird to murder a man being voiced by Greg. I was like, I'm sorry, old friend. But yeah, there's a trophy if you unlock Aldrich Killian and you die and respawn. The trophy is called Beyond.
That's
which
awesome.
is the
Shout
name
out to
of
Greg
this-
Miller.
It's the name of this podcast.
Ryan Bose says, Beyond, with the release of Lego Avengers this week, what franchise would you like the Lego games to try next? They've been pretty much everywhere. I'm trying to think what franchise, like, aside from something mature.
So they keep doing this thing where they kind of escalate. Like they keep making stuff that's either open world. I felt like was Jurassic Park open world sort of? Did that have that hub world thing? Or
It
was
had a hub world. It wasn't
Okay.
open world, though.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like
It was kind of like Lego Star Wars, where it has the cantina to kind
Right.
of connect it all.
Yeah, I think that once you do the open world thing, people really want that. You know, if it's got that big overworld sense to it, and like
I don't necessarily want that. I
Yeah.
mean, I love
I don't-
Jurassic World. I thought it was awesome the way it was just
Right.
connected.
I didn't touch that. You were into it,
I'm
but-
the opposite. Like I,
Yeah.
after playing Lego Batman 2, when they introduced that open world, I can't go back to the
Yeah.
old ones. It drives me crazy. Like
See-
I want the open world.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like like I said, they keep kind of escalating. And they keep adding more and more rosters of characters, and it sort of sucks. Like I Lego Marvel Superheroes was one of my favorite games of the last couple of years. I had so much fun with that. I sucked like so much time into that, and I have like no interest in Lego Marvel Avengers because it feels like almost a step back because they're like, oh, this is just from the cinematic universe. This is just from the
Oh, but they pull character like the story is just from the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get into the open world, like
Right.
I was doing stuff from Moon Knight.
No,
Sure,
their
sure,
character roster is probably more diverse
it's
than ever.
huge.
Okay.
It's because it's comics and the MCU.
And it's like Max. It's like real
But you
weird,
got-
deep cut characters.
you got the X-Men in there.
Like Stanley's
think
in
so.
there's
Yeah.
Stanley in a
No.
mech suit in that game.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
there's
you
weird
don't
stuff.
have the X-Men,
that's-
but you have like 8 versions of every character
Yeah.
that it's just Marvel owned characters basically.
Yeah, no,
so-
I mean I get that. And
Yeah.
I always like the X-Men. I like but also the cinematic stuff, the stuff that feels very like movie branded is kind of a turnoff. And I really like I love the superheroes version because it had like old '90s costumes and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and it was like
had,
Sandman
it had stuff
messing
that
up
just-
New York.
Yeah, it just felt like
Yeah.
toys. It felt like it didn't feel like it was tied to any big property. It felt like kind of the old sort of gold and silver age
Yeah.
stuff.
I feel like-
but yeah, like having an open world and then trying to jump into something that's more sort of episodic, sort of compartmentalized, kind of sucks.
I'm curious to see what the future of these sort of single property Lego games are with Lego Dimensions. Like,
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
that take the place of all that? Because we just got the Doctor Who playset and the
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters
Is the
playset.
That was
Ghostbusters
gonna be-
one like a full blown like
Yeah, it's a
Ghostbusters
full
mini
full
campaign?
series. Yeah, mini campaign.
And that's
exactly.
what's so cool. You get, if you buy one of those playsets, you get a world and essentially a little mini story mode plus a free play open world where you can do a bunch of stuff. And like that's kind of my answer to this question is like, so I wrote when Brian and I saw this in New York Comic Con, I wrote a preview that was basically like, oh, this proves that standalone Lego games are still worth it
Yeah.
even after Dimensions. Honestly, after actually having spent time with this, I almost disagree with myself now. Like just to contradict that, I sort of just want them to keep building Lego Dimensions stuff because this felt so bloated. Like playing through the story as they insert like Captain America 1 stuff, I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's what I don't want from these. Like I
That's
like
really it.
keeping it just tight, and they trim the fat in Lego Dimensions, where you're just playing through like a very concise, well-made, funny, charming story, and then you have the open world if you want, or you switch to The Simpsons, or switch
I think
to
they
something else.
need to ape Disney Infinity in that sense, and either do like big, huge. Here's your campaign entry, or here's your like bite-sized kind of more small scale thing. Like
Yeah.
See,
Simpsons would be awesome. Full scale like Springfield to explore with all the characters.
Lego
It's a Lego
Dimensions
Dimensions.
has it. Yeah.
Is it? But is it
Yeah.
full? Is
It's
it
a full,
all?
It's
it's a
huge,
full
yeah.
open Springfield.
Okay, well that
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely
that's what
can't
I mean.
swap the characters. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have the character part, but
I think we're going to see Ninja Turtles. That seems like a pretty safe
Yeah,
bet.
and I mean, like I probably not Lego Dimensions, but I can imagine them eventually doing like Game of Thrones or something where it's like
Yep.
this weird, because there's such a deep roster of characters in such a big world. I can see that being
They're
really
never
cool.
going to touch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think it's too
They don't.
violent.
Lego doesn't do anything
like
more than
adult themed.
Nothing past PG-13.
I think you could do like, it's funny because we were talking about this over the weekend. You could sort of like, it's so easy to picture a Walking Dead or Game of Thrones done like this. And
Right.
I almost would love to see Traveler's Tales do something without the Lego license, like do something more mature with kind of the same rough idea as this, like obviously not built of Legos, but like sort of that open world exploration stuff,
Would
and
it
sort
be
of
the same thing without the humor there? Could the
Yeah.
humor still be there?
I think you could still do it as a charming.
God, I would be
I
so
don't know.
funny because like Game of Thrones is so humorless. It'd be so funny to take that and like actually give some levity to it.
Yeah, I mean, so's Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's like a brief moment, a season where there's like,
Well, there's a laughter and then a kid gets eaten.
yeah,
But they did a good job with that in Lord of the Rings, I thought. Like I think it's like a decent enough way to be like, oh, okay, like this is like introducing a little bit of weird.
yeah, but that's such an
off-the-wall levity.
inherently campier franchise. That's why my answer to this question would be Legend of Zelda. Like,
Oh
love
God,
just a
yeah.
Nintendo thing.
Oh my
well,
God,
yeah, because it, like to me, it's one of those like Nintendo's experimented with Zelda temples that are multiplayer, that or at least have like a multiplayer aspect to it. Like even Wind Waker had like character swapping and stuff like that.
or like Triforce Heroes that they just
Totally.
did like the co-op stuff.
Yeah, so like having a level or having basically a Hyrule Field hub world that led off to like different temples that had subsections where you could play as Link and Linkle and Princess Zelda and all these other characters and just basically go through, do puzzles, fight bosses. Like all that stuff is kind of already there in the Lego universe.
God, I would love
and
that.
it'd be really laid back, you know? I think it
I wonder if Lego City Undercover, that Wii U exclusive game,
Yeah.
if that would have done better, if we would have seen more partnerships with Traveler's Tales and Nintendo.
I mean that game would have done better if they had put it anywhere but
else.
Wii U exclusively.
Which that game's awesome.
It's
The game's
so
awesome,
fun,
and it's
yeah.
Probably the funniest of the games. 'Cause it's just original characters.
yeah.
They don't have to worry about.
I sunk. So I like the joke like back when this game came out was that I sunk more hours into that game than I did GTA 5.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to see. I don't know why that just died like on Wii U. I would love to see that game on PS4.
Yeah.
like it,
I
it
would
sucks.
pick that up in a
Yeah,
heartbeat.
it's so great. It's,
Lego action cops. Like
Yep.
that sounds like what I would play with my toys with.
and it's just like this. It's this awesome like mixtape of like 70s, 80s, and 90s like slapstick cop stuff, like just making fun of old like action movies and stuff. It's a really great game.
Max, would
But,
you play?
I think they did Portal for Dimensions. I feel like Half-Life and like a lot of Valve stuff could actually work really well
Half-Life
for
would
this.
be pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess
they did
Actually,
Portal,
Left
like
4
Portal.
Yeah,
Dead,
they did Portal.
Yeah.
If you want to do something with zombies, Left 4 Dead would probably be a better thing than
Yeah.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's true. And there's enough, like, even aside from just the characters from both games, like, there's enough to that universe.
I
where-
could almost see.
Actually, now I'm. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Now I'm really sad because I remember when Left 4 Dead, when they were releasing these like little comics to build out the world, and
Yeah.
then they just kind of dropped it. You know, it seemed like
Yeah.
they were building up to Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah,
They actually,
yeah.
There actually is a pretty cool world, and just whatever the series of events happen in that game.
To
build
actually
out.
go back to and
Yeah.
mine, and
It's
they're never gonna make other
It's
games.
been
though.
so long since Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah,
at
but
this
you
point.
have, but we have Dota. Who needs other games?
Yeah. I mean, I think the big bummer about kind of speculating about what kind of stuff would work as a Lego game is knowing what Lego will and won't do and what they have the licenses for. Like, I'd love to say, like, yeah, Lego Transformers, Lego G.I. Joe, but that'll never happen because Creo is what has the rights to those because that's Hasbro and they're direct
Yeah.
competitors too.
Yeah.
And Activision has a Transformers
Yeah.
license and all that.
That being said, through Kuso, like weirder things have happened. Like that's their. If you guys haven't checked that out, that's their like sort of like crowd,
Yeah.
not crowdfunding, but it's basically an idea funding website where
Yeah.
people go in and they go, "Here's my pitch." Like this guy
And
made
that's
like
how
a,
Minecraft happened and stuff.
That's how Minecraft
Yeah.
happened, and how if there's this Lego documentary on Netflix, everybody should watch. It's really awesome. That talks about that whole aspect of it and how they had this like moon. What was it, like the moon rover or whatever the hell?
Yep.
And somebody crowdsourced that, and like the design philosophy was like, let's make this small enough and cheap enough that a bunch of people can buy it. But if you go to that site, it's spelled CUSOO.
CUSOO. Yeah.
All these people are making all these
Actually, I
crazy.
think it's called Lego Ideas now.
Is it Lego
Yeah,
Ideas?
Kuso is like now like a Korean crowdfunding site.
Oh,
or something.
interesting. So yeah, go check that out.
Don't go to Kuso.
Yeah, don't go to that site, or maybe do. I don't know.
Search for Lego Ideas,
Maybe there's cool
whatever.
stuff there. Yeah, search for Lego Ideas. Somebody made a Legend of Zelda set there. That's just
People
like,
have made dozens of Legend
Yeah.
of
And
Zelda
that, the
sets,
funny
yeah.
thing is, like, they can get the support and everything, but then they ultimately, it's like, cool, like, we hear you loud and clear, we're going to the license holder, and then usually
Yeah.
dies there.
What
But then
sucks is
occasionally you see
I
something
don't.
cool.
Nintendo pisses me off so much with how they license things because like Zelda and Mario would look so awesome as Lego, but they're like, nah, let's do Mario Kart Connects. Like, and it's just
Yeah.
what ass is your head in right
Yeah.
now?
Just backing up to license stuff, though, like, I mean, I don't know, man. Yes, Activision has the Transformers license, but stranger things have happened. Like, I'm amazed Disney, EA obviously have Star Wars, but like there's still, I guarantee you we'll see another Lego Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think like some people, obviously some brands are more generous with licensing than others, but I don't think it's impossible. I think Lego is, whoever they have doing their like biz dev and third party negotiations is very good.
I think it
And-
helps that everyone loves Lego. Like, there's
Exactly.
Everyone, nobody hates Lego. It's like,
Exactly.
except for people who step on it. Like it's
Yeah.
it's a wonderful.
And now
thing.
they have shoes for that. They made those cool Lego
yeah.
shoes.
I would really love to see, and I don't know if this will ever happen because Lego is kind of like they really are tied to their in-house stuff, like Chima and Bionicle or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see them revisit some stuff like some classic, nostalgic properties, like their pirates, their knights,
Yeah.
their spacemen, and
And
like,
they had in the Lego movie, they have what's his name? Charlie Day played that
Yeah.
spaceman.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it'd be
yeah.
so cool to have like I don't know like the M-Tron and the Blacktron and Spyrius and all these like vintage like Lego like,
Yeah.
properties that they own the rights to that don't really have stories and they always sort of try to put stories in there. Aquazone, I
They
don't know.
try to like connect all the vintage Lego worlds.
Yeah.
I feel like with like the
Build
right
the Lego
writer,
lore.
and if you
That'd
just
be kinda
handle
cool.
it super tongue in cheek, that could be really funny.
Yep.
Yep.
Also,
Great.
what about Lego Doug?
Wait,
No.
Doug Funny?
Didn't they
Yeah.
have Lego?
Max loves Doug.
Lego the movie, the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lego movie.
Lego,
Yeah.
And
Peter
that's-
Jackson's
Was that
Lego
not
the movie
essential?
again.
That was all
play it.
tied to the. I mean, that
Just
was
the movie.
Yeah.
That was like
I mean,
a super low tier.
I was
Lego.
And
so-
Lego
so-
Dimensions did a better job with it because Lego Dimensions takes those, it's Gandalf wild style, and like it
Better,
takes them and
yeah.
does a better job with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
was-
Lego movie game wasn't great.
Okay.
I was
It
so
was kind of
pissed
a
off
bummer.
about that. The whole like, I mean, obviously they're going to merchandise it, but the fact that the whole message of that movie was like, hey, why don't you screw around and have some fun with your Lego instead of trying to follow these instructions? They were like, here are the instructions to rebuild
Yeah.
that crazy spaceship they imagined in that movie. It's like,
That wasn't the point of the movie.
Anyway, we got a hot email from a sensual young man by the name of Ryan Clements.
Oh, I know where that was
This,
going.
That's familiar.
Yeah.
This erotic gentleman wrote, "Dear Alana, Jared, Marty, and Max." Nope,
Suck it,
nope,
guys.
nope. Wrong, incorrect, but close enough. Beyond, longtime listener, first-time writer. I enjoyed last week's episode and thoroughly embrace your continued tendency to go way off the rails. Keep at it. You heard it here first, folks. I must admit
That's
that
a
my
founding
heart,
father right there.
PlayStation approved and founder.
Blame him for that. I must admit that my
Well, not
heart
founder,
fluttered
but-
at the mention of Neon Genesis Evangelion, which represents a defining chapter in my life of giant robots and the shooty lasers they use. Much to my chagrin, the conversation centered, as it often does, on Shinji.
Who sucks?
Yeah, he sucks. And you showed no mercy in your relentless assault. Yeah, because he sucks. We all get it. Shinji is not the stoic badass. Yes, he sucks. The enigmatic bounty hunter, the elusive spell slinger, he's a kid, but I've always felt pity for him, if not
reading
total
this whole
empathy.
email?
Yeah.
Over the ire he draws from the Ava fandom. Shinji is an abandoned, self-conscious 14-year-old that's thrust into dangerous combat situations. I'm not sure how all you guys acted at 14, but I sure as hell couldn't hack it inside an Ava. And as a reminder, experiencing the Eva's mirrored pain demonstrated blah 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 blah. What's your question?
That's not a question.
not a
This was
question
his
at all.
statement.
Ryan Clements!
He was defending Shinji because we were all mean to him.
Yeah, I mean the whole point is I think that Evangelion is kind of just a big allegory for like adolescence in general, and that Shinji does suck because teenagers kind of suck.
I still maintain that Evangelion is the dumbest thing with the word lion in it.
What?
Yeah, all right. I mean,
You
know.
are insufferable.
Sorry. I like lions.
Also, I like that Ryan's email ended with, "Thank you for reading this very serious letter about a very serious topic."
Yeah,
I miss him.
I miss Ryan.
I miss Ryan too.
You-
Let's get him back in the show soon.
You guys all seen Evangelion?
Nope.
A
Yep.
long time ago.
Evangelion?
I remember. I think it's got some sister kissers, and I think don't you pilot a thing from its
Don't look at
wangus?
me like I know.
Don't you
I
go
have
right?
no
you
idea.
go right in its wangus.
Probably
Isn't that
go
what
in
its
its
cockpit
wangus.
is?
No.
I thought
That's,
the cockpit was in the
no,
wangus.
you're thinking of Zone of the Enders.
Oh, I'm thinking of Zone of the. I'm totally thinking of Zone of the Enders.
Yeah.
Do you
They
kiss
go-
your sister in that one?
I don't. You probably could.
Okay.
You try.
It's Kojima,
Try to
so-
kiss your sister in any video game.
Aren't there a bunch of people in Metal Gear kiss their sisters? Right?
Yeah, everyone's
And Star Wars,
everyone's
too.
Yeah.
brothers and sisters in Metal Gear
Yeah.
and in robots. Ryan, thank you for Ryan actually DM'd me on Twitter and was like, "Hey, what's the Beyond email?" And I'm like, "You used to be on this show." Like,
That's actually really funny.
Just want an excuse to say hi.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for writing. If you have any
It's like
actual
leaving a note in
questions,
someone's locker.
if you guys want to have a nice discussion about Evangelion, you should send some questions to the Anime Club podcast. I don't know what their email is. It's probably on one of these papers. on this table.
Yayanime@hotmail.org.
Yeah, something. It's just go on the Neopets forums and start shouting and see
or
what
tweet at
happens.
Ryan on Twitter at Puam Cider and talk to him about
Yeah, you could do that.
Evangelion and
And don't email yayanime@hotmail.org because that's probably a weird dude.
Yeah,
It's running has no
Somebody's gonna-
affiliation with our show.
sell you some bootleg garage
Like
kits
send
of.
malware or something.
Yeah.
That dude is a sitting malware.
Yeah, if you want to
I
email
almost said
us,
walking. I'm guessing he's not.
we are beyond at IGN.com. And now it's time for the question show, which is called Rapid Fire. We already used one of the questions, so we got to do different questions. Brian, take it away.
Hey everybody, I'm Brian Altano
Hey,
from
Brian, what's going on?
IGN.com. And when I was a young boy, I wanted to be a dinosaur when I grew up. And then my dad told me that's impossible. So now I'm a man. Every week I go in the Podcast Beyond Facebook group and I ask you a question, which is Ask Me Questions. And you give me questions and I read them on the show. And that's a section called Rapid Fire.
I'm really excited for this first
Please
one.
stop. Calais McPherson says chocolate chip or oatmeal cookie. Andrew, which one do you like the best?
Hey, Brian.
Was that question just for Andrew?
Yeah.
No,
messed
everyone
up.
can
Here's
answer.
Several
Here's the
cookies in
interesting
my life.
thing.
Yes.
My favorite cookie is oatmeal chocolate chip because I don't like oatmeal raisin.
Oh, what is this?
It's not
No,
really
no,
like
no. You get
raisins.
one. You get one or the other.
No, well, I mean chocolate chip.
No, this
then.
is like what's you get 3 wishes? Oh, one more wishes.
No, but that's
don't get more wishes.
everyone puts raisins, stupid raisins, in their oatmeal cookies.
What's
I have a
Raisins.
gun.
Oatmeal
I'm
chocolate
pointing
chip
the
is
gun
the-
to your head.
is
There
the
are 2 cookies on the
chocolate
table.
chip,
Which do you
chocolate
pick?
chip.
There, thank you.
If you have
Answer
some
the
raisins
question.
at home, a good recipe is to put them in the trash
Yes, exactly.
because they're nature's candy, and nature is an idiot for calling
Yeah,
it. that.
nature's really. I hate anything called nature's candy. Like
What's
what?
it's usually just that one thing.
Yeah.
They
No,
usually
man.
outlaw most of
Crab
nature's
apples.
candies.
Nobody calls crab apples nature's candy.
Yeah, grops.
No, they don't. They don't even call it nature's apples. That's apples.
But the crabs.
That's
but
what
crabs
5th
also come
graders
from
say when they're
nature.
trying to poison children.
Ricky Nugent says, "Are any of you good at or like cooking? If so, what are you best at making? Does anyone cook at this table?
I've
I
always
cook a lot.
considered
I do.
myself to be something like cooking.
Yeah?
And
Are
that
you-
I'm an experiment that can go wrong.
I mean, I cook almost every night, but it's awful. Like very
Totally do
basic
not
stuff.
cook almost every night.
What do you make?
You get wraps at the place next to the bar every night.
Well, that's true. When I'm home, I cook. If I'm home, I'm ordering food
you
maybe
order
1 in
spring-
5 weeks, 1 in 5 nights, and then the other nights I cook.
Chloe, do you cook at home?
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
What do you like to make? You got any
anything.
recipes for Ricky Nugent?
No.
No? You just
What do you make? Do you make like pastas, primaveras?
Yeah, those are good.
You looking at me? You talking to
Sammy's?
her?
Do you ever make wraps? Andrew likes them.
No.
I do like wraps.
That's not really cooking, is it?
That's
like
like-
Yeah, exactly.
putting
No, I mean-
crap together.
I do. I mean, and that's like
the
my
sandwich?
My
That's a-
cooking thing is dropping like it's sautéing a bunch of
Dropping
ground meat
stuff.
and spinach or whatever. It's like the most basic possible thing.
And then what do you just eat it out of a bowl
You
like a sad
saute
dog?
ground beef and spinach.
Yeah.
Any trash
What?
you have, just throw it
Yeah,
on
or
the
like make an
stove.
omelet or whatever. Like I do very simple cooking. Like I don't do any like recipe cooking.
So
You
wrap
do.
is like a really
You do. I
passive
cook a lot.
aggressive sandwich. Like you don't want to actually like slap it down there. You're just kind of really like rolling it. Like you're trying to wake it up. You're like, hello, sandwich. Just form.
How do you make your wraps? You roll them like a big blunt?
Yeah, basically.
Do real
That's how they
tough.
make them. I don't know if you've ever seen one.
That's
but
how you make a burrito. That's not how you make a
I've
wrap.
never made a
What do you make
wrap.
a wrap? What are you gonna do?
You take it and you put stuff inside, and then you fold one top over the other top, and then it's done. You don't roll it on the table like you're
That's like
making
some weird messed
bread
up
in the 1800s.
What? No, I mean
You get a
roll-
loaf of
roll
Swisher
it up.
Sweets.
No, that's a
The
burrito.
1800s.
It's
I'm
not a
sorry.
Charlie
burrito.
Manny asks, "What movie are you excited to see this
Wait,
year?"
Brian, you cook a lot.
Yeah, I cook a lot.
Yeah,
do you
you cook 10 times more than anyone at the table.
I make a lot of sauces from scratch. You
A
can
nice
make-
sauce.
You can make a sauce very quickly using olive oil, red pepper, salt, and some can of tomatoes.
You can make a
Easy.
sauce really easy by mixing some objects with a liquid and put it on a stove.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, if you just some
old
some
pennies.
minor liquids and solids together, you'll make any sauce you want.
Yeah,
make pizza from scratch. What you should do if you have no good pizza in your town, make your own pizza. It's very easy
That's a
and it's
sad
delicious.
Town. You should move out.
Yeah, you should definitely. If you live in a place with no good pizza, get out.
Your
Get
town
out
is
right
actually a cavern, and you should not live in there. It's
Yeah.
very
There's-
upsetting.
it's
you're on
backcountry.
Puzzle Island and you should leave.
I went through.
There's no pizza in the witness.
I went through a big cooking phase when I was working from home. I was cooking all the time. It was really nice, and I had a good time doing it. And now I work at a job at an office, and I don't do it as much. And I go home, and sometimes my fiance's cooked, but I miss it. It's fun. It's a good experiment.
I work that same job with you, and I go home and cook like a real man.
Okay, Brian, you can one-up me some more if you want.
Get it together.
Yeah.
Charlie Manny says, "What movie are you excited to see this year, Max?"
Wow, that was like weirdly passive aggressive.
I'm excited for the film High Rise. I just read the book. It's based on a book by J.G. Ballard. Go check out this
man.
trailer. It's got I'm a big fan of William Gibson's books, and I know that he was sort of influenced by J.G. Ballard, and I had never read any of his stuff before. I saw the trailer for this movie. There's 2 of them out there. The second one has Tangerine Dream playing in the background. It's got Tom Hiddleston. It looks like a cross between Dredd and American Psycho.
J.G. Ballard wrote the sexy car crash.
Yeah, Your Crash.
book.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's it called?
Crash the movie about the racist car accident.
No, that's the
You're
there's
getting
2
them
different movies
mixed
called
up.
Crash. It's the racist car.
One's racist cars, one's sexy cars.
That was
Yeah.
the David Lynch movie, right?
Yeah, no, David
No,
Cronenberg.
no.
Cronenberg.
Yeah,
Okay,
David
okay.
Cronenberg.
Yeah, I need to check that one out too. But basically, he's been compared to Palahniuk. Just finished the book. Real good book. Real curious about the movie. So
Wait,
looks
did
like a.
David Cronenberg do a Crash movie like on the J.G. Ballard book?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's one of his movies.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you should see it.
I'm really excited about the Coen Brothers' new movie.
Hail Caesar.
Yeah,
That comes out in
Hail
like
Caesar.
2 or 3 weeks.
It
Comes
does
out in
already?
Yeah, that's
February.
very soon.
Yeah, that looks like every Coen Brother movie like combined.
Holy crap.
It's like the ultimate, like if Grand Budapest Hotel was like Wes Anderson's like ultimate Wes Anderson movie.
This is
looks
like this is prime Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just finished watching both seasons of Fargo, and I've heard about Hail Caesar, but I haven't watched
Yeah.
the trailer, so
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
really
go in totally cold and be
looks great.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, The Witch.
Yeah.
Looks
Yeah.
like
Oh,
the
yeah,
most
a bunch of us
satanic
are seeing
movie I've
that.
ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we have a
pretty
big
excited
screening.
about that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like this year's Babadook. Are you going to see that movie about the space boys who go on a cool mission?
Which one? Star Wars?
Rouge one?
Rogue One?
Yeah.
That's-
I was just saying to Max earlier, like, I'm really excited for this movie, but I'm also kind of like, oh man, we're doing this again, aren't we? This whole, like, here's the first set photos, here's the first leak, here's
But
the
we
first
don't.
character. Like,
This one's so different because it's like we don't even. Is there an opening crawl? Like we legitimately, there's
Yeah.
never been a Star Wars movie that's
Am
not
I-
an episode.
Am I crazy? That's coming out in like 5 months or something?
No,
No, it
it's,
comes out
It's
December.
like end of the year.
December,
Oh,
yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is December? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we saw costume shots today. They revealed for the first time. I
really?
read a whole article about how like Darth Vader's all but confirmed for the movie.
Yeah.
There's new like pre-stormtrooper armor that's basically like the Death Troopers in Battlefront. Like it's weird. There's weird stuff in there, and that there's basically like they think that Alan Tudyk is mocapping a droid that's like this. Like one of the coolest droids they've ever done, which is going to be hard to top after BB-8. But I don't know. There's stuff to get excited about in there, and I think it's awesome that they're going to start telling weird side stories. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, here we go. We're getting back on the Star Wars ride one more time, which I'm
kinda-
totally
kinda
for.
scared.
But
I don't know. It's gonna
Yeah.
be. The hype will hit me at some point.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm really excited for Thor Ragnarok, which I didn't think I would say, but I found out it's directed by the guy who did What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
which is a hilarious vampire movie.
And it's also like everything. Like I
you
really
see-
don't like the first 2 Thor movies, but it's like little by little. So like there's rumors that Captain Marvel will be introduced in it. There's all this really cool stuff about. I mean, Hulk is confirmed for it, and there's all these really cool ways that he's going to introduce that are rumored. There's Kate Blanchett supposed to play the villain in it. There's just lots of really cool rumors. For that
did you hear
movie.
the name of the sequel for What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh, it's just called something Wolves.
Werewolves.
Yeah, werewolves. Yeah.
Civil War. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
I don't give a crap about Civil War.
Why?
It looks super boring, but
What?
so did
I'm,
Winter Soldier.
I'm
and then
more
I
excited
was-
for Civil War
Yeah.
than Rogue One.
And
by
then I
a lot.
was really excited.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So
Speaking
that-
of comic book movies, Lazar Odick says, "Are you more excited about Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad?" Obviously, that's a big debate that's been going on around here.
Kinda
Suicide
neither.
Squad's not. It's not even close. Like I like Suicide Squad better.
So-
and I'm not really excited for either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I'm being perfectly honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the last Suicide Squad trailer, but I don't know. When I was like, oh, it's really good, and Mitch was like, did you just like it because of Bohemian Rhapsody? And I'm like,
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's a good
So
chance.
I'm not like super versed on a lot of these characters aside
Same.
from the obvious ones, clearly like Joker and Harley Quinn. But I went into Guardians of the Galaxy with that same mentality and walked out being like, that's one of my favorite comic book movies I've ever made. So I'm hoping I get a similar scenario here, but that sort of anti-hero thing.
Is Batman v Superman the Man of Steel?
Yeah.
sequel.
director?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Zack Snyder.
So I feel like when I look at Suicide Squad, it gives me a stomach ache. It honestly it looks so bad. I don't know. I feel like I'd have more fun watching Batman v Superman because it looks bad, but in a way that's like easy to make fun of. I guess like riff on with your friends.
I could
you
see
know?
that.
Like
Yeah.
Suicide Squad just looks like it thinks it's really cool.
Mhm.
You know.
I think
don't
it
know
does
if
think
I
it's really cool.
I can't deal with that.
I
Like,
mean, the
Don't
whole.
let it hear what we're saying.
watch out, guys! It's edgy.
But the
Yeah,
weird
like-
thing about Suicide Squad is it's being was it written and directed by David Ayer,
Yeah.
who wrote Training Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm like, he wrote Training Day and then never really did anything else good. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those like, man, like, do you forever get to be just the dude who wrote Training Day because
Dude,
that's such a rad movie?
Training Day kicks so much ass.
Yes, but that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. But like,
I also think that total gut instinct. I think that most recent trailer for Suicide Squad is completely misleading and nothing like the tone of the movie.
Yeah, like you can't put Bohemian Rhapsody in your trailer and then think that makes your movie look good. Like,
exactly. Like when watching the footage from Comic-Con, like I think that they realized it was too dour and they're making it fun. I'm sure there are one-liners. I'm sure there are jokes in it. I'm sure it's obviously a lot lighter than Batman
I know
v
who
Superman.
tells some jokes. The jokester.
Oh, the
The
jokester.
jokester. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like. I really like DC, and I loved the Nolan Batman movies, but it's like I have no excitement for Batman v Superman
They
coming
haven't
after
given
Man of
us
Steel.
anything to go on. Like the only
Yeah.
thing that conceivably is part of the DC cinematic universe is Man of Steel, which people have mixed feelings about for the most
And
part.
Batman v Superman, they have shown so much.
They've
and
shown so much, and they continue to show more. Did you see
Yeah.
that thing that showed
Yeah.
up?
Yep, yep.
They're like,
Yeah.
does this image reveal the new big? And it's like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
There's too much to it, and they're doing too much too fast. Like I mean, if the Justice League movie is announced, and it's like 2 years after all of this stuff, and that's crazy to me because like we don't. I don't know.
Because
There's
no one
a
cares
lot
about
going
this
on.
yet. Like,
yeah,
whereas, like, by the
exactly.
time the Avengers rolled around, we sort of cared about all these characters.
I think
Yeah.
Deadpool looks better than both these movies, and I'm not even the biggest Deadpool guy. It just looks like the people making that movie had fun making it.
Yep.
And I feel like all of this is sort of that like.
Yeah, all the Deadpool advertising has been great too.
Yeah, like
super
they're
spot
just
on.
everything
Yeah.
about it just
And that's
seems
really
like,
what movies are about, is the advertising.
Yeah.
I mean, the
think
marketing
it-
for that one's good, but I don't know. I'm in a weird boat with that movie too. I think for everything other than the MCU right now, I really do have superhero movie fatigue. Like
Yeah.
I'm really, really looking forward to Civil War. Everything we hear about the Ragnarok sounds great. I obviously want Infinity War and all that stuff, but like, man, there's almost no other superhero project that excites me right now, other than maybe Legion that Noah Hawley's doing for TV.
Right.
He's doing that's the guy who did Fargo is doing a X-Men spin-off
Oh,
TV series.
I did not know that he was doing it.
Yep.
He's the
so
showrunner. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Super excites me, but beyond that, I don't know.
All right.
Beyond. We have
Um,
one more question. Dan O'Neill says, not really a question, but just once you should let Max explain Dragon Ball Z to you. So Max, you have 1 minute,
Okay.
60 seconds. Tell
right,
me what the
starting-
hell a Dragon Ball Z is starting now.
Okay, Dragon Ball Z, to see it as one standalone thing is incorrect because really it is a continuation of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is the Chinese fairy tale Journey to the West, which is about a monkey boy who has a magic growing staff who lives in the woods. He befriends a genius inventor girl, and they go on a magical search for these balls. When collected all 7 of them, a dragon appears, and you can grant a wish. So it's basically like this kind of Aladdin fairy tale type stuff. Dragon Ball Z, it reveals that this boy is in fact a space alien from outer space. And basically he's had a son, and they do martial arts, and they become very, very strong. It's sort of like if I had to explain the entire story as one overarching thing, it would be like if Looney Tunes segued into the Marvel Universe. Like you start out with this slapstick, goofy nonsense, kind of like taking familiar themes and exploring them, and then suddenly it's very serious, and people latch onto the really serious part, which is the Z part.
Okay. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, all right.
That's very difficult for me to understand. Did anyone get that?
I stopped listening.
Well, my favorite part of the entire thing was like 25 seconds in, you're like, like got it so far. Keep
No,
going.
I actually had you at the beginning when you were talking about the monkey in the woods, and then there was
Yeah.
the space baby, and I was like, I'm lost.
Yeah, you got to start at the beginning. That's really it.
Who's the vacuum character? The character that's a vacuum.
What?
What?
Are you talking about Pokemon?
I just remember watching Dragon Ball as a kid on Toonami. That one character's got a vacuum. Frieza.
Oh, you're thinking of Luigi from Luigi's Mansion.
Frieza's
Oh.
a vacuum. I don't know.
He's a
Frieza.
vacuum?
Ignore
What?
me.
I don't think he's a vacuum.
The character that's got like a vacuum tail.
I believe you.
Oh, Cell. Yeah, Cell.
Oh, he uses his tail to suck people
I
up.
don't know.
I'm very
This
confused.
is why I'm not an anime club.
Yeah.
Is it done? Did they win?
Yeah, they won.
So the fight's over?
Well, basically, they're all doing martial arts and karate and kicking each other's asses all the time. But because he got these magic balls, they're able to kill each other and then wish each other back to life. And of course, people from across the galaxy hear about these balls, and they're like, "You can wish for whatever you want. I'm gonna go steal those." And then people
So,
always come
it's
to
like
Earth and-
Heroes Season 2 where one character steals powers, one character resurrects you, and one character can live forever, so no one ever actually dies, and then the show
No,
gets
people die
canceled
all the
twice.
time. They
But
start
they
making
come
up,
back.
They make up all these weird rules that dip into like Eastern mythology. And
But I mean, nobody ever dies for good. They always come back.
no, sometimes people die for good.
Who died for good? Spoilers.
I think Goku
Vacuum
dies.
Boy?
No, I don't know. They keep bringing him back. Some people die for good.
Really?
At one point, they fight Hitler, I think, or there's zombie Hitler.
Does Hitler die for good?
Basically, they in this world,
Hitler
I
did
think
die for good.
hell is a place. Like
Don't
hell is.
worry.
He didn't die for good. I mean, he died for evil. He was. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. It's Dragon Ball's a weird thing. If you, it's a
Beyond.
really, it's a wonderful comic series. If you start at the beginning and just read the whole thing, it's like,
How many issues is it?
it's like 42
How many
volumes.
chapters?
But I mean, they're like a lot of them are just like slapstick
Wait,
fight
Dragon
scenes.
Ball's like finished? It's not
Yeah,
like
Dragon
that?
Ball start to finish is finished.
Huh.
Yeah,
You did it.
yeah. There's Dragon Ball.
Yay.
Now you know. You learned. All right, so that's Podcast Beyond, the #1 PlayStation podcast about Dragon Ball and movies we want to see. Sorry for getting off topic. It's Ryan Clement's fault. You can go on the computer and tell him he's Pwam Cider on Twitter, and you can tell him that Shinji Ikari is a big baby, and you should just get in the dang robot.
Well, you can tell him you miss him.
I lay in bed at night wishing I had a robot when I was 14. I would damn well pilot one.
It's a long tweet
I got
you
some
wrote there.
daddy issues. Anyway,
It's a bit longer.
if you'd like to get in the robot, you can find us all on Twitter. I'm Max Scoville. Marty is McBiggity with 2 G's and 2 T's. Goldfarb is Garfep. Chloe, what are you?
I'm just Chloe, CHLOI with an underscore before that, so underscore Chloe.
Whoa, you can
Nice.
start with an
Spell
underscore?
my name right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start whatever you want.
That's bitchin'. And you have your witness review up?
Yes, my witness review is up. There's a video review. Don't watch it if you want to go in completely blind. Maybe I don't show anything that the trailers don't show, but or I don't show anything that the trailer doesn't show.
Yeah, this is a game that
Don't worry,
the revelations are the meat and potatoes of it.
Cool.
So.
But even like you sitting me down and telling me stuff, I'm like, I still want to experience it for myself because I'm sure that moment of discovery is
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yep.
I like it.
Go check
Cool.
that out.
Well, yeah, you gave it a pretty high score, so it seems like it's definitely worth looking into. Brian is Agent Bizzle on Twitter. And he likes to cook. He likes to tell everyone how much he cooks. He goes
Yeah,
home with
he's
his
America's
Cold
#1
Stone
sauce
Creamery
boy.
pizza plate and makes a big sauce, putting some big
What is
olives in
there's
the
no
bowl.
Cold Stone Creamery
Boils-
pizza plate. What's
Sure
that?
there is.
Like an ice cream
Yeah, no,
tray
it's a
for
real
your
thing.
oven?
Yeah, it's-
Who wants some hot ice cream
It's
fresh out of
it's
the
not
oven?
a very cold stone. It makes it too
Who
hot.
wants some milk circles? Big wet hot
right.
milk circles coming out of my oven. Come on down to Clown Town. Boop, boop, boop.
And that is our show for this week. Thank you for listening.
Beyond.
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 All right.
Beyond.
Beyond.